Hello there, and welcome back to the Big Brain Hotshot Show. I'm Mr. Gabe, and as a reminder, our word of the week is explore. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite activities to do when I'm out exploring, photography. When I was younger, I had a pretty big interest in photography and videography, but I didn't have access to a camera. Fortunately for you Big Brain Hotshots, modern cell phones have pretty great cameras. It's important to keep things simple. I use a cell phone as my primary photography camera and for filming here because I like to focus on what I have instead of fixating on what I wish I did. I began taking photos because I wanted to capture moments in exactly the way that I wanted to remember them. As you can tell, I have a lot of hobbies, and I think the goal of a hobby is to learn about ourselves, to learn what we have an interest in, to discover what we enjoy doing. And to me, it's just as important to learn the things that we don't enjoy and the things we don't care for. Now, there are count them, three things I like to keep in mind whenever I'm doing any sort of photography. 1. The subject of my photo. 2. Lighting. 3. The photo's composition. Let's take a look at these and break it down. The subject of my photo is what I'm actually taking a photo of. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's an object, and other times it could be a landscape or area. Lighting. To me, lighting is the single most important thing when it comes to photography. Take, for example, Raichu. I have pretty even light, and you can see he looks pretty nice. But if we add different lighting, he looks completely different. Wow. And the way the angle of the light hits him completely changes the vibe of how he comes out in the photo. Related to lighting, I also like to think about the angle of my photo. Since I can't control the sun, sometimes I need to adjust as a photographer so I can get the best possible shot within the confines of my environment. Finally, I think about the composition of the photo, or the way everything is arranged in the shot. A straight and direct photo, like you'll see here, is pretty classic and is great when you're trying to quickly capture something. However, if you have the time to adjust various elements of your photo, you can really change the vibe. For example, putting something in the foreground so everything else in the background gets blurred. Once I began composing my photos differently, such as using the rule of thirds, which is where you place the subject of your photo on either the left or right third of the frame, my interest in photography increased exponentially. I find trying to capture the perfect photo that I have in my mind to be an interesting challenge. With any hobby, it's important to remember why you're doing it. And being able to identify what you enjoy about it is a great way to help us learn about ourselves. Tomorrow we'll be recapping everything we did this week, so be sure to join us on the Big Brain Hotshot Show, and don't forget to follow.